Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm just going to be giving my predictions for UFC 307, which is happening this weekend, headlined by Alex Pereira versus Rountree. So let's get into it. So I'm just going to be breaking down some of the more notable fights on the card. So the main card and one of the prelims. So first of all, we have Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. Buckley is the favourite, and I'd say that's pretty fair. I'm going with Buckley by second round TKO ground and pound. So one of the things that favours Buckley is his footwork and his movement. He's not just going to stand in front. While he has shown some weaknesses in his chin, I feel like those have been fixed since he moved down to welterweight. He's been doing very good because even though he was always a welterweight, he's a very physical and big guy, and he kind of brought some of that middleweight strength down with him. And his, side-to-side footwork, he moves around the cage a lot. I think it's going to be quite a bit difficult for Wonderboy to almost pinpoint where Joaquin's going to be, and I think it's going to be a lot more difficult for Wonderboy to find more precise strikes, wheel kicks, head kicks, that sort of thing. And also, I don't like the inactivity from Wonderboy, right? He fought in July of 2021 against Burns, lost. Then December against Bilal, lost. Took a year off, fought Holland. Took another year off, fought Shavkat. And then it's going to be about 10 months. And again, at his age as well, I think he is 40 now. I don't think inactivity is going to be a good thing. And I think as well, Bilal was a lot better than everyone expected. But at no point in the Leon Edwards fight did I think he was going to get a TKO at all, right? At no point in most of Bilal's fights do you think he's going to get a TKO. Against Wonderboy, at the end of the second round, I believe he was just unloading ground and pound, and I actually did think it was going to get stopped then. And I think Buckley isn't just a striker, he's very good striking, he's very explosive, but he can and will implement the grappling when needed. You saw that in his last fight. So I see maybe just a bit of a feeling out process on the feet, the trading strikes, Wonderboy, doing okay, but then Buckley just sort of blitzing in and just not even straight up double leg, just making a collision, just being able to trip Wonderboy out and get on top, because while his takedown defense seems to be okay, Wonderboy, it's his get-ups, and that's one of the things that tends to go as you age. Your ability to get up or break off the fence really does seem to decline. So I think, they're going to do okay. Buckley's going to implement the grappling, late in the round, around 3 or 4 minute mark, and, he's going to have some success. He's going to, just get decent positions, land a few ground and pound shots, but in the second round, I'm going to see Wonderboy a lot more tentative just because of the takedown. He's going to be a lot more careful picking his shots. When he finally does explode, Buckley takes him down. Maybe lands a few good shots on the feet as well. Buckley is a really good striker. But then I see Buckley taking him down a lot earlier in the round this time, and then just eventually getting a good position and just slowly working ground and pound until an opening for a finishing sequence comes up, and until he gets the TKO. So Joaquin Buckley is a minus 205 favourite. That's fair enough. Wonderboy isn't a bad pick. Don't get me wrong, if you want to pick a Wonderboy to make some decent money, I'd definitely put it there. There are some weaknesses in Buckley's game. But I think Buckley will win by second round TKO. Ground and pound. Okay, now we have Kevin Holland versus Roman Dolidze. Kevin Holland is a minus 162 favourite, and I think that's somewhat fair. I'm going to pick Holland by 29-28 decision, and I don't think it's going to be that good of a fight. I'll tell you why. Holland has consistently shown an ability to not do well against grapplers and struggle with stronger grapplers. Dolidze, while he has terrible takedowns, he has great jiu-jitsu, and he will just clinch people and hold them against the fence. And I feel like even though if you have better takedown defense, I think what really needs to be valued is your ability to break off the fence and your get-ups off the ground. And I don't see Kevin doing it that well. Because again, he moved down to welterweight. He's going to have welterweight speed. He's going to be a lot faster, way faster than Dolidze. And he's going to be a bit more technical. He's going to be way more technical. But Dolidze did just fight Anthony Smith at light heavyweight. And Dolidze is a big middleweight. He's really strong. He hits pretty hard. I don't see him knocking out Holland. I don't see him having much success on the feet. I think most of his success is going to come from just clinch work. But I see, there being moments where Dolidze is just holding him against the fence and it's getting kind of boring. They break off the fence just due to, grappling exchange. Holland would land an elbow, land a right hand, and it'll stun Dolidze. It'll cut him. I don't see him knocking out Dolidze. Holland's power is really, really good. But Dolidze, he hasn't been knocked out in the UFC. I don't know if he's been knocked down in his career, but he has a pretty good chin. He'll look bad in fights, but he'll still do well. And I just think it's going to make for a closer fight with Holland. I think Holland's just going to minorly outstrike him, and then in the moments where he's out grappling Holland, I think Holland will land, big shots when needed. Just enough, there might be one, 29-28 scorecard for Dolidze, but I do think Holland's going to win, and I do think the odds are fair. Again, with Dolidze and his grappling, I don't think it's a bad underdog pick, because Kevin will kind of just have performances where he just won't do well. Same with Dolidze. He looked terrible against Demavov, but he still made that somewhat competitive. So I think just stylistically it could pose problems for Holland, and even physically, because Dolidze's strength. But I'm going with Holland. I think, money on Dolidze isn't a bad idea, though. Okay, next up we have Ketlin Vieira versus Kayla Harrison. Harrison is a -900 favourite. I'm going to pick Harrison by... I don't know, I'm going to go TKO ground and pound. There's nothing much to this fight. I haven't watched a lot of Vieira's performances. She got a split decision over Hollyholm. She lost a split decision to Pennington. Harrison dominated Hollyholm, and Pennington isn't really all that great. So just naturally the pick is Kayla Harrison. I don't have too much interest in this fight. I don't really... Until Harrison gets a title shot, I think it's just fairly straightforward when it comes to a fight. It's just picking her. But, could Kevin get the upset? Probably not. So, Kayla Harrison, first round TKO. And now we have Jose Aldo versus Mario Batista. Batista is the favourite. I've got no damn clue why. Batista, he's on a decent run right now. He's beat Ricky Simone, beat Guido Cannetti, the Mont Blackshear. He's doing okay for himself, but there's nothing that just screams to me wow, right? Vinicius Oliveira just whooped Simone for 3 rounds, even worse. And I don't think that Batista has, a strong enough wrestling game to impose, good, heavy wrestling against Aldo. I think you need to be like a Murab who can just hold him against the fence, because I think that's Aldo's only weakness right now. He can defend all the takedowns. He just struggles with breaking away from the fence, and I don't think Batista has that ability or pace in him to do that. I don't think his volume's enough, his boxing volume's enough to give Aldo any problems, and I don't think his power is anything notable. I think you have to be a Piotr Jan, where you have good power, good grappling, and then extremely good volume and technical skills. Well, I do think Batista can do okay, and he could arguably win a round, maybe the third. I think Aldo is going to have much more success. I think Aldo will, minorly outstrike him in the first round, or decently outstrike him in the first round, land good body shots, even bring back the low kicks, as Batista is quite a boxing heavy fighter. I think he'll bring out the low kicks. I think he'll start trying to find body shots. Then in the second round, I think Aldo will hurt him to the body, as Batista has quite a long torso. Again, very much a boxer, keeps a high guard. So I think he'll land a body shot that'll kind of hurt Batista, and then he'll land up to the head. Might drop him, might not. I don't think he'll finish him, though. I think Jose Aldo, he'll rock people, and he has he follows up pretty well, but I don't think it's been quite a while. It's been since Jeremy Stevens. He hasn't really finished anyone. But I think it'll hurt Batista, and then either follow up, but he won't empty the gas tank to like completely and try and put him out. And then the third round, he might be winning the start of it, and then Batista will kind of like start landing some shots, kind of even things out towards the end. But Aldo will win a 29-28 or 30-27 decision. As to why Batista is the favourite, it doesn't make sense to me. And as to why Aldo's ranked number 10, I've got no clue. But a win here should put Aldo in the top 10 and give him some big matchups next, I think. Okay, now for the co-main event, Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. Pennington is a -170 favourite, and I think that's fair enough. Pena's been out for about 2 years, and then before that, she got absolutely battered by Amanda Nunes. Pena, while tough as I think Kiesa was saying, a $2 stake, she lacks a lot of defense, and she lacks pretty basic boxing fundamentals. It's a miracle that she's become a champion, in all honesty. Amount of respect for her, she beat Nunes, but Nunes showed in that fight, in that rematch, that she's simply on another level, and Pena just wears damage hard, and she goes through the fire each time, and I don't think it's going to pay off. Pennington is relatively tough. She doesn't do anything exceptionally well, but I think she does everything good, just good enough to beat Pena. I think in the Maribeno Silva fight, she came back in the later rounds as Silva gassed. Silva did have some success in the grappling, though, and I think that's noted, but Pena's takedowns aren't, particularly good either. She took down Nunes after she already hurt and gassed her out. So I don't think I see Pena employing or being able to employ much grappling unless Raquel welcomes the ground game. But I do think this will probably be a 49-46 decision. I think, Pennington will just minorly outstrike her and nullify the grappling. So I think it'll be a pretty lackluster fight, in all honesty. Because I don't think Pennington has enough power to drop Pena and make it a relatively entertaining fight. But I think there'll be one or two moments where Pena will, lock up a submission, or have a moment where she does, she lands some good shots and just starts walking through everything. But I do think Pennington will win 49-46 decision. And now for the main event. Alex Pereira versus Magomed and Khalil Rountree. How did he get there? Well, jokes aside, Khalil does not deserve this title shot. He really doesn't. But I understand why they did that. They're sort of protecting Pereira, or they want to get Ankalaev some actually decent wins. I don't rate Johnny Walker that highly. But they put an interesting matchup together. But I do think Pereira will win. Khalil's only chance in this fight is sort of just by knocking him out with a lucky punch. And Pereira is simply just a better puncher than Khalil. And Khalil's not going to implement the grappling. He's not. He's never once shot a takedown. And I do think he has quite a lot of confidence in his striking, I'll give him that. But there are still openings there. Khalil's wins, while he's on a good streak, but he really lacks that standout performance, which I really feel like he could have gotten against a Jamal Hill. But he beat Anthony Smith, third round knockout, on short notice. Took him to the third round. Didn't look again. I know I made a breakdown praising Khalil on that win, but the rounds were fairly competitive. Aside from rocking him, they were pretty even on numbers. And then he beat, Chris Dorcas by KO. Welcome to the club. Then he beat Dustin Jacoby. Well, he beat Jacoby. He didn't. He straight up just didn't win. He was whiffing on all his punches, and even then, Jacoby's good, but we see, if you've seen what Pereira has done to him, he spun his head around badly. And then he beat Jacoby. He beat Modestas Bukauskas. Vicious KO. All of his finishes are vicious, but violence can only get you so far. he beat Modestus Bukauskas. It's Bukauskas. I'm not gonna, you're not beating Pereira, right? It's nothing insane. And then he beat Carl Roberson. Right? Vittori beat Roberson. It says enough. And also, I've just watched Khalil striking. Like, he lost to Martian Prachnio. He, lost to Tyson Pedro. He lost to Johnny Walker. He's 13-5, I believe. 14-5, something around there. Like, he's essentially a journeyman on a good streak. And I love Khalil. I think he's a great fighter. I like his story. I've, watched his episodes. The Jerry's good. He just isn't good enough. There are openings in his striking that I've seen. I've broke down a lot of his fights. He leaves his right hand down when he throws his left hand. And for Pereira, it's a rinse and repeat of the Jamal Hill fight. And while Khalil, is pretty good, I can't imagine that Pereira doesn't land that left hook. Because there's just an opening wide there. Like Khalil, I think Khalil will just blitz in, try to hit him with something big. Pereira will land a left hook. It won't floor. It might not even floor Khalil, but it'll freeze him, and it'll be noticeably oh, okay, I need to be careful now. And he's going to start backing up quite a bit. And I think Pereira's going to pick up on this, and he's going to start amping up the volume. He's going to mix in kicks, punches, and knees. And I think eventually he's going to try and Khalil's going to swing back. He's going to swing a big left hand. Pereira's going to slip it and land his own left hand, and he's going to floor Khalil ground and pound. And then fight's finished. So I'm going Pereira first round KO. Pereira is a minus 485 favourite, right? So naturally, I think it's fairish odds. If you're feeling a bit darish, put money on Khalil. But I don't bet the mortgage on him. That sort of thing. I do think that Pereira will win, and I think he'll win by first round KO, and I think it'll be very, very impressive. So those are my predictions for UFC 307. Actually, a pretty good card. I don't understand why they have... I kind of get why they have Harrison Vieira on the main card. They want to put Thompson and Buckley down on the prelims to get prelim viewers. But I think it's actually a pretty good card they whipped up here, because for a while it was looking really quite dead. I think they were going to try and get Holloway versus Topuria on that card, but due to, I think, Bilal's injury, they couldn't have him versus Shavkat, which made it a bit difficult. But they really whipped up a good card. They even had Evloev versus Sterling on this card, which would have made it really good as well. But, it's actually, a really solid card, maybe a 7 out of 10. I hope, the fights look like they could be good. There will be a few, underwhelming fights, but overall I think it's a pretty good card. And I'm really quite looking forward to it, and making all the breakdowns afterwards, of course. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoy the predictions. If you are betting, I wish you all the best. And if you aren't, I hope you enjoy the fights. Anyway, guys, see ya.